Let's bring up the map veto system for you, though, because, of course, where we play matters quite a lot. Accelerate will be on attack. Rogue will be on defense.
Back in Oregon. Out of play.
Consulate.
Okay.
Awesome.
We'll get to see Consulate again today.
Exciting. I would wonder if Rogue has been working on their fundamentals, but also coming up with other strats to use, if we might see a Teller's Archives from either of these teams. It does seem like the type of match in which we would possibly go to that fourth site. Now, knowing the stats and knowing where both Rogue and Accelerate entered the day, I'm very interested to see what the community thinks of this particular matchup.
I think this one's going to be much closer than the usual. Wow, hey!
Not quite close. That is a big difference. 74% Rogue, 20% for Accelerate.
Fair enough.
The community has spoken.
No.
They got it right with EG. They got it wrong with Rise.
I think we all got it wrong with Rise.
I can't remember if they voted in Reciprocity, DZ.
It was very close.
I think it was Reciprocity who got the vote, wasn't it? Yeah, Reciprocity won the vote.
But like 10%.
Yeah, that was a very close matchup. But our final match of the day, and then a break for all of you North American Pro League fans until we return for the second half in a couple weeks' time, after the Invitational. Let's get underway with our final match of the day.
And keep in mind, even though North America Pro League will be off for the time being, doesn't mean you shouldn't be watching other regions, because as we head into Invitationals, these last few matches that we have in store for Latin America, or basically Brazil at this point, and Europe are very exciting, as there's more teams that will be represented from those regions at the Invitational. Definitely something to keep in mind. But Jackal will be the first ban, and Ash the second one for Accelerate to remove that from Rogue's potential. Interesting that our two-man operators are soft breach, basically. Jackal for any roam hunting. So you can already kind of formulate the strategy in your head, at least what Rogue is preparing for this one, as they start off on the defense. And people are asking, do teams take in mind which side they're going to start on when they're going through the ban phase? Absolutely. Maestro, there's going to be one removed here. So there you go. They're going to have Echo in play as both the Mira and the Maestro. Again, we'll always say, you know, Consulate maybe not the best map to remove the Mira. But hey, some teams just don't really want to deal with her. And that's an absolutely valid decision. Basically idea to make and have in that situation.
Rogue also will run Mira a fair bit.
Oh yeah.
They are one of a couple teams that
easily
have a
runs
Mira.
Quite a bit.
Easily runs Mira quite a bit when they need him on that role. If he's not playing a Maestro, now with Maestro being banned, he's likely going to be on the Mira to start off with, but no, he's actually going to be on the Echo instead. The 6th pick being used by the Doc. Probably
Though the Doc
yet another information operator, but excellent pick by Schlongy to go with the IQ. We'll counter Valkyrie, we'll counter Echo, and we'll counter the Pulse. That's a good pick for Accelerate, and they may not even know it yet.
And here's the thing. Usually on Consulate, Valkyrie is a big ban for a lot of teams, right?
Absolutely.
And I wish we had the information to say, oh, here's the most banned operators on this specific map. That would be nice to have as we head closer to even more detailed statistics in the world of Siege and professional play. But Valkyrie is usually banned, which means IQ is not going to be the most important operator to bring. But guess what? Because she's allowed, it makes a ton of sense to run the IQ. Back in the day where you didn't have the pick ban system, I do not long for those days, but the IQ was pretty much a necessity if you're playing on this map or in Oregon. And there's quite a few players that used to run the operator, both the Valkyrie and the IQ actually. Goga being one of the players that ran both of those ops, so he was basically the most qualified to play against them since he plays the ops so often. But Schlongy, again, kudos for him and the team to figure out that this is going to be an important operator for them. And we'll see if it actually does pay out, as yokai drones are very important to deal with. As we've seen the amount of work an Echo can do by his lonesome at the end of the round, basically just being 3 people in one. Yeah, he's like Cerberus. Got 3 heads out there. Just nomming on some things. That aside though, the Chief just destroying as much as possible. You might be thinking, oh, but he's wasting skeleton key shots. No, these are mostly to have rotation holes to move in very quickly between one side or the other, to not force yourself to only rotate through the hallway and be exposed to fire from the opposite end.
Yeah. Just a good line of sight and you can open up Oh, there goes a Valkyrie camera. There goes a Yokai drone. Schlongi giving himself just a tiny bit of danger as he does peek the long desk in order to get both of those gadgets, but a good risk with lots of reward on that end. Eclipse has been spotted inside of the main lobby. He'll engage with the bucket. No, achieved. Looks a little bit too wide. Sort of slow peeks the doorway and gets gunned down from Eclipse as easily also adds to Rogue's tally. A pre-fire will not actually land anything, but vertical, as well as Eclipse. Excellently timed. Both members of Rogue will collapse upon Crusher, and he'll get felled. This is Excelerate really struggling to even get inside the building. Shuttle gets a bit too brazen. It's punished by Tomas, but there was no escape for the Capitao. On the balcony, Slash's smoke will be able to absolutely eliminate him. And there goes Schlongi to easily.
Nope.
That'll be Rogue taking round number 1, and we will go to a rehost
All right.
between these two teams.
It's like a tradition at this point. We have to have a rehost. Hopefully it's no major issue. Normally it just means that someone has to restart their game. And we'll head back into the lobby and we'll be good to go. All right. Well, first round. Great execution from the Buck, I have to say specifically, but also the instant the attackers of EXG had some sort of control, they used it to their advantage. Schlongi took out important equipment, but equipment is one thing. You actually have to kill the players that are trying to use them. And those were the big losses. No gunfights were effectively won there. Very inefficient, I have to say. Rogue also dedicating 2 players to hold down the lobby was, in hindsight, a good decision. You don't always think about it that way, but once you think about the disposition of players on this site, 1 player playing inside of a projector, 1 in bathroom, holding the hallway, and 1 playing in connector room and or console chamber, 3 people to hold the top floor whilst the others are maneuvering around the bottom is not really out of the ordinary.
Right. So, while we wait for the teams to get back into the lobby and set things up, Rogue up 1-0, we'll toss to a very short break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. And welcome back to our final match of the day again. We're going to be seeing Rogue versus Excelerate Gaming, and they're going to be playing on console. Rogue was up 1-0 before the break, before we had to toss to a rehost, and well, we're going to see what they're able to do on defense. They won the console office upstairs. Usually teams will immediately rotate down to the garage, but there's obviously lobby, and then as well tellers and archives available for them too, should they opt to go there.
All right, we're going to verify everything, and we should be heading into game. There you go. Right on time, as we're going to go to Cafeteria Garage. There you go, as you mentioned. So astutely, Parker.
They're 1 and 2 on sites,
Yeah.
so not really a surprise, all things considered.
Yeah. Also, we'll call you Nostradamus at the end of the day. Well, still a Rogue. See, they go for the 6th pick. They go into the Legion off of the Mute. A bit surprising, given the fact that Mute has been so strong, but also because on this site specifically, you can put a Mute Jammer on the workbench, pretty much stop anybody from doing anything via those yellow stairs. But still, it's not like Legion is a bad option, to say the least.
He's so good.
He is, actually. He's a bit too good, similar to Maestro. I think we both agree on things there.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some changes in the future. A few, 2, 3 less goo mines and just 20 seconds to recharge instead of what it is now. We'll see. I'm sure the developers have their eyes out for all these things, as I believe they mentioned it within the within their basic ideas on balancing everything, their blog posts. It's always interesting to read through some of those developer thoughts, as they get to see things and bits of data that we don't usually get to see on our end.
Yeah.
That aside, though, we're going to start off with this round as Excelerate will waste no time and put pedal to the metal and move it directly to Piano, try and open up and destroy those bandit batteries that are so clearly spotted by the garage door.
This is a position that we see a lot of Ashes go on to, and easily! Not anticipating that, but immediately traded out by Eclipse, who will just peek the window and say goodbye to Schlongy. I don't think Schlongy actually got any of the bandit batteries.
He did not. Oh, but the bandit had not even set up his batteries at that point. That's why. And the Thermite wastes no time to open up the wall and Bio and the squad at not even 2 minutes. Not even.
Astute read from Excelerate Gaming, old chap.
Elementary, my dear Parker.
So now you've opened up the garage. I feel like pointing this out every time this happens. Teams tend to do one of two things. Open the garage and push immediately, or open the garage and wait an awful lot as you clear the rest of the site. Opening the garage for a lot of teams, depending on the composition of the defenders, is often just a starting point. And oh no! Bio, not the place to play. Shuttle through the hole that was opened up by Bio's teammate will be used against Excelerate.
What? How did... But he's right up behind him! How did he drop in? Achieved comes in, gets the kill on Slash, and that's the entire site open now for EXG to take it. Crusher gets one more on a vertical, 3v2 advantage for Excelerate, and Thomas is somehow still alive. Shuttle still playing the dock. Eclipse got in from the back. And grenades being lobbed into the last two defenders, as there's pretty much only 2 angles for them to enter. They'll split around and try to push. Shuttle has taken a ton of damage, but no time for him to play. Thomas will take down one Shuttle. Stim pistol in hand, and no, achieved to take him out. And what in tarnation just happened there? Achieved just walked in? I don't know. Where did he come from?
It looked like he just dropped. It looked like he either went down Visa or must have dropped hatch, because I think he went.
Please don't tell me the lobby hatch was open.
I'm not entirely certain. But it's... This happens on Consulate to a lot of teams. Because on Consulate, you're usually going to have one body on every single floor. Sometimes you might have 2 on that top floor. You might have 2 on the main floor. One of the bodies playing at the basement level, which was the Bandit of Easily, got picked so early that there was nobody else on site to really cover the basement area. So because there's nobody in garage, well, Excelerate reads it. Excelerate reads into it and then just achieved. Literally drops right in. He takes everybody out in his path.
Yeah.
And Excelerate just locks down the site.
Man, I am very impressed by that, and a bit surprised that Rogue kind of let that slip through. There was no information. It's possible because the Legion was busy getting the kill on the Zofia and had not set up his goo mines. And with that, in the back of our minds, ladies and gentlemen, we start to understand how everything evolved in that round, as there was no information to back up and to back up how the defense was supposed to be set. And also, because the wall had already been opened through Garage, it would make a lot of sense that Rogue's defense was pretty much just focused on that one singular entryway, not expecting the play that EXG went for at the end, which is to come around from the flank and drop the hatches. And unfortunately for Rogue, they end up falling in a bit of a round that is a bit disappointing for them, but they'll opt out of going back down on Garage as they believe that there was a bit too much of a hole in their strategy in that one, and we'll go to the lobby. Still, what does this site require? It requires a bit more of a top floor control, and EXG to counter that. The attack and console chambers, they're going to try to go in for an admin take, similar to what you would do if you were attacking the sites directly on this top floor. The mute jammers are going to cause a bit of disruption as it blinds the drones to the attacking side of EXG.
That's going to be information that's going to be starved from Excelerate, but it doesn't really matter. Slashug, so long farewell, and thanks for all the fish. As there goes the Echo, taking out both the Yokai drones as well. That will still remain. Keep that in mind. You can still watch them, but they're just going to sit there. And also, if they get disabled by an EMP, the Yokai drones will hit the ground. And due to the fact that Slash is dead, they cannot go back up onto the ceilings. So once a Yokai drone is disabled, unless Echo deliberately goes onto it and makes it reattach to the ceiling, it's just going to sit there immobile on the ground. Very easy prey.
You can only use them as pretty much floating cameras at this point, but yes.
Yes.
An EMP grenade being lobbed here and there might catch one of them. And we've seen how information is important for the defense, but losing such a big operator early on is pretty darn huge, and Ushlongi will get shot down, and this time by Vertical. It's a bit of a repeat of our previous round, and Vertical narrowly escaping the fire there of the Dokkaeif. Thomas will be able to escape down easily, though. We'll find the kill, taking down Crusher. Bio having taken a lot of damage. Take the diffuser in his hand. Coming in from the service stairs and easily has him. Not sure if he spotted the diffuser there being dropped on the floor, but Shuttle will get another one. The goo mine giving excellent information to the Rook in that situation. Thomas will find the kill, and easily was a bit too low on HP. Now, gonna have a bit of a hack into the phones, because that's exactly what how hacking works, as far as Emzo has told me. He is a programmer himself, so he should know all about these tiddly bits, and so that's how Iron Sights works as well. Thomas moving around as snarky comment here and there is always fun, right? Thomas got complete sights on him. The Legion watching the side angle also has a goo mine to hold, and Eclipse will drop Thomas. A Rogue with a brilliant hold here, though it always is starting now. With Accelerate getting a pick, Rogue always able to capitalize on the, the eagerness of Accelerate to try and snowball that one kill into a full round.
Eagerness is a good way of putting it. As a lack of structure from Rogue was, how would I say it? Rogue recover very well, and I think that a lot of times they might be playing quite loose, and they have a bit of late setups, and Accelerate could be reading into that. Keep in mind that when you do counter-stratting and you do VOD review, and when you scrim teams, one of the things that you will realize is how fast a team can actually get their footing on defense. There are teams that, look at Clubhouse, for example. There are teams on Clubhouse where they will still be doing setup work 40 seconds into live action, because you need to take a lot of care with the walls. Knock them down. You want to be able to get sight lines open. You want to make sure that rotations are where they need to be. You want to make sure that if you're going to impact trick any of the hatches, especially on that basement site, that everything needs to be done correctly. If you know that a team is slow with their setups, you can rush in and catch them off guard and pummel them. And so far, whether they were still setting up or not, Rogue were not in their correct positions because they were caught early on in 2 of these 3 rounds so far. And because of that, it's been an easy opening frag for Accelerate. But just because they get the opening frag doesn't mean that Rogue doesn't have a good setup behind it, and that's why Rogue is able to make the recovery that they want. Either that, or as you said, the eagerness for Accelerate. We got a pick. Start playing for picks. Well, you can forget the strat that you have behind you at that time and end up basically throwing your life away on a bit too, as you put it, eagerness. Now, That was a successful defense of console office and then a successful defense of the lobby. Garage is still open, but it didn't fare so well for Rogues. They'll go back up top to the first floor that they defended in the very first victory that they were able to get in this game.
Yeah, well, Bio running the Bearing 9 at the bottom, definitely something that has fallen out of favor. A lot of players, not for him, and not for Easy. Actually, both players opting to run the submachine gun for Japanese CTUs. Achieved in the meantime, wasting no time destroying the wall. Skylight looking into console chamber. We'll try to move up. Again, today we'll see Consulate yet again, and this time there will be no admin take for this site. So, with no Capitao, well actually Capitao is in for Thomas, and I'm expecting the Capitao to do work alongside Achieve there. The Capitao has already wasted all of his stun grenades. There's no information on if the ADS has been replaced. And set in as Achieved will take his time and not use the valuable frag grenades that the operator has, and Bio will burn out the ADS. An extra one, actually there you go. This means that there's still one more. One frag grenade will get used for that job. They were unsure of it. They're trying to time the flashbang basically with the grenade.
Now Shuttle's in a very precarious position as Achieved has 2 frag grenades, both of which have Shuttle's name on them, as both ADSs on those yellow stairs have been burned. Actually, 1 frag grenade left from Achieved, as it does appear that it was burned out. Excellently timed. He'll drop it down, but Shuttle will be able to just scoot on over. He takes about 15 HP, roughly, and he'll still survive for the time being. But he's about to get pressured from multiple angles, as Schlongi's entrance will eliminate Eclipse, and then the rest of Accelerate will begin their assault on the stairs. But with the 4-1-6, oh my goodness, they line right up, and it's an easy double for Shuttle. Say goodbye, Schlongi and Crusher. Now, with the Capitao below, Shuttle could possibly go for a third. But he'll just head back up and sit, and that patience is part of what keeps Rogue in every single round. Don't get too aggressive, don't peek unnecessarily. Shuttle finally finished off from Achieve as the buck drops. You can hear the skeleton key work good measure, but there's vertical down below, takes out Tomas. And Accelerate at a big disadvantage. That disadvantage will grow as Achieve looks the wrong way, and vertical is there. The Valkyrie still on the move down on that first floor. Biologic has 15 seconds, not a ton of information to work with. He holds the diffuser, but he needs to get back up towards the site. He knows there's a Valkyrie somewhere, likely will be on cam, and under close watch. Bio's gonna have to make it work. He'll be head vertical, but you can hear the timer going down, and it only takes a couple bursts from that SMG-11 to Slash to do what the clock was just about to do, which is hand Rogue the victory on the round, and it will now be a 3-1 scoreline.
I saw the push up yellow stairs, and I'm like, not again. Yesterday we saw the exact same thing between Orglis and Dark Zero. Like, is he gonna get a double? And yes. Why? Both players are watching the same exact angle. As they walk up the yellow stairs of the attack, and then it's an easy kill. Smoke, no matter what it is. The Jaeger, when they both line up, is gonna be able to clean up the 2 players. No problems whatsoever. Now, we'll see how EXG try to adapt to this, as they're going to bring the Dokkaebi to use those calls to their advantage, possibly allowing them to find any players in those positions. However, Rogue, we'll see that their site has unlocked down in Garage, and we'll try it again. Actually, it was already unlocked. To remind you, that's the only round that they lost against ESG. Bit of a weird round, I want to say. Late on the batteries, for example, from Rogue. It's just... It was excellently played by Excelerate in that one, where it just dropped in, used every advantage in there that was available for them to get the kills on Rogue, and the drop of them from the back. Though, how will Rogue try to salvage this after their first defeat? Gonna bring the Valkyrie in here to set up a few cameras here and there and have information on any potential drops. We saw one of them being set up in the closet downstairs in the lobby. Shuttle as well, having put his bulletproof camera downstairs by the workbench in the garage. And cycling through. That's a pretty good spot here in the camera, and there we go. They just watched. They don't want Schlongi to make the same move as he did in the last round.
Now, you don't need to review that much footage over the last 24 hours to know that stacking up on yellow stairs is not the play. Especially not when you know someone's going to be playing aggressively above it. Now, mind you, In Accelerate's defense, both members of the team were looking in separate ways, which differs from what happened yesterday in the Dark Zero matchup. But still, almost inexcusable that you would see that happen yet again. And Yellow Stairs is a perfect place for a massacre when it comes to the defenders holding on. All that said and done, it's another victory for Rogue on console office. So hey, let's go down to Garage.
Vertical on top floor. At least he's got support here from Shuttle. Drones will get shot down as Shuttle goes down to Achieved. And the Buck, oddly enough, takes no damage in this situation. The call had already come in. So Valkyrie is spotted in the back and takes actually no damage. Oddly enough, Doka be trying to engage with the CZ-70, or the SMG-11, excuse me. Thomas will find the kill, a big advantage here for Accelerate as they come in and only take damage as they eliminate the two roamers, the Valkyrie and the Doc.
Tomas flexing on him with that Platinum Operation Health rank charm, obviously. Putting some respect on that name.
Weird flex, but okay.
I saw it and I was like, is that what I think it is? Overall, I was going to say, everything going well for Excelerate right now. They've got decent map control. All they need to do is make sure they get their feet under them and start to transition towards the basement. But there's Eclipse pulling out the pistol, drops Biologic. Pistol. Well, I mean, he did technically.
Oh, well done.
Got Kiss Goodbye. Easily here on the flank. The phone call coming out just a second too late, and he will capitalize on an easy play with Crusher having his back turned to the Bandits' advance through Visa. Still, it's a 2v2. And there's utility. Schlongy has two disruption, two of those Guzmats for disruption if need be. Two smoke grenades from the Jokobi, though the lifelines have been exhausted on Tomas's side of things. Real question is, what does Slash have in terms of the toxic canister? Easily has his nitro cell. If Slash has a couple of those toxic canisters still available, then this could get very dangerous for Accelerate, who will have to wade through those toxic clouds to get in towards the site. And there's one. That will be thrown out from Slashug as you have Schlongy looking all the way down the main hallway towards pipes. Quite a bit of damage done to the Zofia. And both members of Rogue will have great sights. But no, easily just missing his shots. But there's Slash. He takes one. He knows he just needs to play time. He's got the shotgun out, and it's such a big clutch from Slash down in the garage. And that is where Accelerate will park that round. What a play from Rogue. And they'll just continue rolling through this defense. It's 4-1.
Wonderfully done there by Rogue to recover the round as it lost two significant players early on. And easily pistol whipping there, getting 2 kills off of it. Very well played by Rogue. It's not an easy thing at all to try and recover after having lost so much early on. And don't do this. You can't do this. Not again.
I think that was a mistake.
Yeah, but you can't even pick it. Rule set, even if you pick it, it's not a thing.
We are not admins, to be fair.
It's in the rule book, which teams should read.
We are not admins.
Defenders,
yes.
protect your bombs
I don't
from
make the
being
rules.
used by attackers.
I just simply...
I wish I did.
I don't make the rules. I just simply respond.
Are you sure about that, comrade?
Yes, I don't make the rules. So when teams do that kind of stuff, like, oh well, we move on.
I thought you're the one that makes all the shows happen on its own.
No.
Device in the game off. Podcaster started. That aside.
There's like nothing. There's nothing that starts a match faster than people shouting "Start the game" in Twitch chat.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's like when you play Age of Empires and you keep spamming 5. Start the game already. Start the game already. Start the game already. You're like, I'm gonna mute you.
I can't start this any faster. All right, well, that 6 pick, kind of a waste, to be completely honest. There are a lot of teams that don't use the 6 pick, but regardless of what it was used on, it was still the fact that Accelerate could have possibly played some more mind games there. And because that Nomad pick came up for just a second, you know the other 4 operators outside of Nomad are not changing. That's intel that Rogue doesn't need to second guess. Yeah, they need to figure out which of the operators is being played by somebody else, but that's really it. You have 4 guarantees. There's no guessing game here. There's no, mental gymnastic that will need to be done to try and figure out, oh, why would they pick this operator, etc.
Now we saw the effect of Maestro on a site like this, and fortunately for Accelerate, he is banned, or else there'll be a repeat of what we saw earlier on in the day. The matchup between SSG and Rise is saw the amount of damage that Rise were able to do right on that angle, close to the bathroom in the hallway. Achieved in the meantime, continuing to drone, huddled up close to the wall. He'll spot the Mute in the back here. Vertical playing solo, trying to deny information as best as he can, expecting an upside down repel from Achieved, but he won't have that gifted to him. Also has Slashug's Yokai trying to support him.
I'm kind of surprised that EMP didn't actually take out the Yokai. It must have just been on the cusp of where the Yokai was, or just on the outer range of the EMP that was thrown to the back of Vertical here. Still a lot of patience for Achieved's push, and this could be something where, you know, you end up with Vertical being quite rewarded. But all things considered, Bio will drone him out, but the Mute will push out to his left. Vertical actually has a great opportunity for a double play here if he wanted to. If he peeks over on this edge and manages to land a shot, he could walk away with it, but oh no, the wrong timing! As there's multiple sights trained over in his direction, and Vertical will fall with very little contested onto Accelerate.
Alright, Eclipse bottom side. Payo will exit through the admin office. Will repel all the way down to support the Buck, I guess. I'm not sure if Achieved will remain in this position. It makes a lot of sense that he would enter through into Projector, but the attack still has not cleared the opposite end here with the console, and losing the Capitao not too great when you're trying to isolate any potential players in the bathroom, as it's pretty much fully reinforced. You could have used that to your advantage. A big kill here going the way of Eclipse on the Legion. Shall rotate back in the hallways. Crusher will find one on Eclipse and finally take down the Legion. Goo mines aplenty, and look at that. Diffuser being set. 28 seconds on the clock. Crusher with one more, but Shuttle will find one. The IQ in the back, having put the diffuser... No, what? No! They go off of the diffuser. It's not planted just yet. A huge kill coming out there, and a huge shutdown. Somehow, Slash still alive in the back. With the Echo, Schlongi trying to find a position for him to put that diffuser down. Achieved will get one kill, but if Slash can thread the needle here, it'll be all that he needs, but no, Crusher! Absolutely demolishing Rogue. Hollow, ACOG, no matter what it may be. Crusher can lay the law down against Rogue, and Accelerate will at least end the half with 2 rounds on the board for them in the attack.
Extremely difficult for Slash to be able to do much around that. You're playing against Bullet Pen on the desk, you're playing against the lack of Bullet Pen through the bomb chassis and then the bomb itself. There's really nowhere that you're going to go. So I really did not envy Slash in that position. It also looked like he'd lost all of his Yokai drones too. So anyway, that's it for the very first half, and we'll switch sides. Rogue walking away with 4 of their 6 defending rounds. That's pretty good split for Consulate, and I think ultimately what Rogue should be hanging their hat on. It's going to be a cafeteria and garage defense for Accelerate on their first defense. They're going to be bringing a pretty similar lineup to a lot of teams running on this particular site. You'll have your Mute, you'll also have your Bandit. You'll be able to stop a push through the garage with the breach denial, and then of course, Mute sees an awful lot of play here on Consulate. Legion is as good an operator as any on a single site where there's lots of entry points, because you can try to keep everybody at bay, making them step on the goo mines, and they have to pull it out of your foot, so on and so forth. I really like what EXG is bringing. For Rogue's side of things, well, it's a lineup that almost directly mirrors what we've seen out of Accelerate. Thatcher, Hibana, IQ, Buck, and a Capitao.
10 seconds to go.
All right. Schlongi to set up a signal disruptor here. This will block. This exactly blocks drones that are going into Piano, if I'm not mistaken, right above. And this extra one will block ones that are moving through the main hallway close to the bathroom. So you see things. Both hallways have been locked down with the signal disruptors, and this is why we talk about Mute. Why I was surprised by Rogue not bringing the Mute when playing on Garage downstairs, at least in the first round. I can't remember the second one. But yeah, Mute can disrupt a ton of droning, and it makes a lot of sense to bring in, but EMPs here will make short work of any of those chambers set up. Vertical has one, actually, a drone that is mainly used for flank protection, basically later on in the round, is sometimes there are players that will move around and try to fight the lobby or any player that is in Piano just to cover Eclipse's back in this position.
One of the things that often doesn't get mentioned in regards to why Thatcher has such a high pick rate is because of the fact that Mute is a must play on a lot of sites for teams. And because of this, who takes out Mute the best? Thatcher. He blows up the devices to stop you, the signal jammers. Now, speaking of the Thatcher, he's going to be part of the very first altercation. He'll find the pulse of Achieved, and not only one of Accelerate's best players, but also a great operator for this site in particular. That mute can sit down just off of the site, just towards the back of that staff area or the cafeteria, and be able to just continuously feed information. He can also hold down the server area and know if there's going to be a push coming from Visa as well. Ends up being a pretty good spot for most pulses to play, but he will be no more, and that will be an advantage in favor of Rogue. Half of the round has been used, and there's very minimal pressure whatsoever onto the piano side of things, which is where Eclipse will make his home for the next minute and 15 seconds. That will likely happen, unless somebody from Excelerate can be dispatched towards that area, which is probably going to be Biologic. But here's the issue. That Legion still has 3 goo mines that he can possibly put down to help his team. Crusher will retaliate by taking Eclipse out, so that Buck, who I predicted would be in piano for quite a while, will have a bit of an early grave there. Oh no, the Capitao of Shuttle just gets a little bit too close to Bio and gets spotted. He falls off, and the Legion had a golden opportunity to pounce upon a kill.
Cover me!
Shuttle will look on down. See, the Habana had already opened up a walk-in directly into garage site. Bandit trying to move up and contest. I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. Crusher had already used up his Nitro Cell. Slash will try to peek in around the side. And Shuttle not here to try to support. Oh no, he spots the Bandit, but maybe a bit too late. He switched around between the guns. Vertical and easily will get one each though. Will find one uneasily as he peeks on out. Diffuser's on the floor. They'll have to fight it and they'll take him out. It's all about putting that diffuser down, but Tomas has a shotgun in hand. He'll take down one in Vertical. We'll clean him up. A bit too close for comfort. As the IQ will be the finisher. It's a good thing Vertical was right there on time. Very smart decision by Tomas to put himself close to the only position that the attackers had basically to walk in. That's the thing that you let go when you play Habana instead of Thermite. And this is why the two operators on the surface might look like they do the same exact thing. However, each one has their own benefits and downsides. And in that case, not having played the Thermite might have been a lost round for Rogue, but they recover thanks to the excellent flank from Vertical. And that's 5 rounds on the board for Rogue. They're 2 away from victory, and a victory that they sorely need to put themselves in continuous contention. Try and make it to the Pro League Finals for Season 9. I'll remind you again, if you have not listened through this broadcast, this is the final play day of this half of the season. 6th Invitational separates us from the next 7 play days of Season 9.
Yes. And for those curious, the teams that are currently competing in Pro League, no, they do not fight for a spot at the Invitational. What is on the line is the unannounced, I suppose, or undetermined location for the next Pro League Finals, and the actual date as well of when that will be. Announced, I'm assuming, probably some point, maybe at the Invitational, who knows exactly when. Speculation doesn't really help here, because I know everybody's going to want to know the answer, but we don't know it. At some point, the next season finals will be announced, and that's what teams are currently fighting for, the Season 9 finals. They'll be returning at some point after the Invitational. So the teams here that are not competing in Montreal in about just 2 weeks or so, well, they'll have lots of time to prep and strategize.
All right, Virgo and Meetown trying to spot any utility in the opposite end. This, again, an easy way to deal with the Pulse, for example, is just to try and spot them with the IQ. We've seen that working very well even through floorboards. So it won't be the case here. Slash will find the first kill on Crusher, taking down a player that has been doing a decent chunk of damage on EXG's side. Really showing up in this matchup. Not in this round, unfortunately. The castle will be dispatched, and they also spot achieved downstairs. Not surprising at all to have the Pulse all the way at the bottom, as he can rotate back up later on in the round. It's possibly up to Eclipse and Vertical to clear him out, but what is Bio trying to do? The Clash playing solo and the SMG in hand. I'll remind you that the changes have not gone live yet. So that full auto has not been engaged just yet.
Yeah, and an interesting operator still, and we saw yesterday that there are obviously ways to use Clash that can be controlled by the rest of the defenders, but it's more of a niche pick with her. A lot of times you really need a good strategy around her in order to keep her safe and nestled in on the site. Achieved rotates, almost gets caught by easily, sustains quite a bit of damage, and there you go. I guess he must have re-peeked, but unadvisable. Biologic will eat both a Gishmat as well as an impact as Slash tries to do the work himself to slow the Clash down. He's going to get held up on yellow stairs. Schlongi takes down easily, cuts him off of the wire. because the rest of Rogue will now need to face the Clash and everybody else playing over on the console side of things. There is still a castle barricade on the wall as well that will need to be dealt with at some point. Probably the best person to do that, Slash, doesn't have any of those impacts left.
They do have 2 grenades still left on Eclipse, so he can come in and aid in that fight, but oh, they dive right in, and that's 1 kill, 2 going also the way of EXG. Schlongi put in the work. Thomas with the shotgun in hand will finish off Eclipse. Leaving Vertical on his own, and the barricade at this point is going to save him for just a bit, but guess what? There's those bullet holes and the destruction that has been already set by the Cubby here in the console chamber. And Vertical will have to fall off the rappel, so he'll have to walk on up with 30 seconds left on the clock. Not much time and not much health, and really not much more than a dream. The Clash will stand in his way and slow him down, and very frustrating, I believe, is the correct word in this situation. For Vertical actually landing the kill, taking down the Clash, 2v1. 12 seconds on the clock, and the finisher for Thomas. He'll shoot, he'll score. And that's EXG for an extra round on the board. 3 for EXG.
Curious to see if EXG is going to go over towards the lobby or if they're going to go back down to the garage, because I wasn't super convinced of their garage hold, though it did come down to a 1v1, so that's basically a coin flip. If Vertical had been a little bit slower on the beat on that first defense for Accelerate, it would have been EXG getting a victory there. All things considered, it does look like we're going to see the defense be able to rack up some points here for this side of the half, which will benefit Accelerate. Both teams obviously look better composed on the defensive side. That's not necessarily worrisome for Rogue, as now, with console office often being a site that a lot of teams are very practiced on, well, the attackers have an opportunity to attack a less than favorable site for the defenders. And well, would you look at it? Archives and Tellers.
Finally.
As I had predicted going into this matchup, it does not surprise me at all to see this come out, and it's Accelerate who's going to do it. This is the kind of gamble that you need to take, especially for EXG. This could be a big momentum swing. Here, if Excelerate is able to be successful on this site, a lot of teams, they'll know how to attack it, but they're not going to be as familiarized with it as the other 3 sites that we see teams go to on console.
This is why I called you Nostradamus earlier on.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser. Attackers must locate and defuse.
We can talk about TILs later, but for now, it's EXG try and play this as best as possible. Now, this is a site that has basically been untouched by North America, right? Compared to a region like EU that has seen a decent chunk of play on this site. They've seen ENCE, we've seen a ton of back in the day Millennium, you know, we've seen Market, we've seen Secret, everybody's gone to the site in Europe, and it's been thoroughly explored. I think some of the teams to look forward to seeing playing on such a site and learn from is pretty much Chaos and Secret. I think they've got it kind of nailed down to a bit of a science there. But it all depends on you holding the top and the bottom. You have to look at this as if it's Tower on Oregon. Multiple levels, but you have to spread out your players on each one of those different planes. Now, if you had a Mira, then things would be a bit different here. But you still reinforce the top floor. You still play the bottom. But having shotguns is very important. Why? You have a lot of those preset fire holes from below and from the top. Once you get pushed from the top side, you rotate all the way down into servers and try to hold the Visa entrance from the bottom side because of those pre-placed holes. And losing manpower definitely does not help easily. We'll find the first one on Achieve. C4 to connect, maybe Bio, no. It'll miss. Bit of damage done, but that's pretty much it.
That was a really good fight from Easily to take onto the dock, and it was just Achieve trying to watch way too many angles, and his sight might have been obscured a little bit by the cubicles inside of admin. So when you've got Easily on rappel like that, the Type 89 is a weapon that a lot of pros kind of struggle with, and a lot have said that they don't particularly enjoy, in large part due to the magazine size potentially, but Easily has made it work on a number of occasions. So Rogue have control now of open area, but keep in mind, the second floor is important to attack down towards the Teller's side of things, but Archives is the site in the basement. The only downside to having a site that is on multiple levels is that if you lose control of the floor, it's very hard for you to retake because you have to engage from below. But Schlongi engaging Eclipse from below, he's granted a kill and very minimal damage done to the Legion.
You know what this site does? It lures the attackers into a false sense of comfort because they're like, oh, we have top floor, we just attack the bottom, and well, guess what? the defenders are most likely going to be playing under even that in the servers and trying to play against you. In this case, though, 4v1, you're not going to have a lot of maneuvering, though. Nitro Cell in hand, 18 seconds on the clock. You can definitely shut down a diffuser plant, but you need the information. Play around it. C4 has been placed, and we'll connect to Slash. Take him out, but the diffuser's already been set, and a retake is nigh impossible here, because guess what? Those server stairs are going to get watched, and the hallway as well coming up from Spiral will be as well. Nobody from the top floor, though, to watch in. And as I say that, actually, see from above. Shuttle to rain down hell. The Hellfire shots will connect. Well done there by Rogue to figure out the defense of EXG. And I have to say, the defense from EXG on this site was just not that impressive. I don't think they've done enough homework on this site to be prepared for it.
Well, a lot of times teams will bust that out because they appreciate that the attackers have set strats on the other 3 sites. Maybe not the most comfortable, like I said, on attacking Teller's archives. Yeah, I would say that, but I mean, this also doesn't look like the same Rogue from the past couple seasons. So maybe, since Rogue has been having issues with some other strats on the normal, typical sites, that they might not have the most success on the wonky sites that you don't always see that much of. So when you look at this in particular, I have never really been convinced that teams can retake successfully. It doesn't really work. Most times when you lose control of that site, you're in really rough shape. Very similar to the kids' dorm site on Oregon, and very similar to Garage as well on Consulate. When you lose control, it's very tough for you to get it back. Crusher had a great attempt, but he had to try and watch the kill holes that were above the stairs leading to Visa. He had to watch the hatch that was in open area, or admin rather. And he also possibly had a body playing on site. He was able to nail that with the C4, but there was still another member of Rogue in a 1v3 that was unaccounted for, that likely was watching to see where the bandit was coming from. Nigh impossible to be victorious in circumstances such as
5
those.
seconds to insertion.
I appreciate that Excelerate went there. I think it's a very bold strategy.
Attackers recovered.
And remember when we saw, I believe it was Millennium go there against Cloud9 back in DreamHack Montreal? It's always nice to see that. And being able to pull a strat out on a site that you don't see a lot of play of can often catch teams flat-footed. But in that case, I think EXG, you're right. They have some more homework to do.
Yeah, and I think it's more just because Rogue are prepared for Invitational. And yeah, you're going to play EU teams and possibly on Consulate. You better be prepared for this site to be played really whenever your opponents want to. EU teams in general have been fairly comfortable playing such a site, so commendable effort, to say the least, but Rogue got it all figured out, and you could see with their performance in the previous round. That is hype. How will Rogue try to assault the Garage? Is this the site of choice here for Accelerate? They'll go and run the Mute plus the Bandit. Combination we haven't seen a ton of. It's usually one or the other, especially for how we've seen Rogue play, especially with the Bandit they only had. Crusher's holding on by the car. Nobody moving in so far by the yellow stairs. Bio taking a lot of damage actually from above it. Crusher will find the kill on Shuttle. A big kill on the Capitao early on as those Bandit batteries are still and achieved will connect. Eclipse will go down. There's 2 huge technical operators removed from Rogue.
I imagine that Accelerate, as they are right now staring down match point against Rogue, they'll probably get very aggressive and try to catch Rogue off guard and really get under their skin. Because if Rogue can get tilted, especially with Rogue's performance, that kind of mental fortitude from Rogue might not be there at the moment. It could be. Rogue has always been a team that doesn't really let their nerves get the best of them, but this could be one of those rare instances. Not exactly certain what is going on with Accelerate's players, having issues dropping in and out, but losing Crusher is not advisable. That's going to be your Bandit that is gone. And, I mean, you just saw that one of the Bandit batteries was taken out, but there could possibly have been an opportunity maybe for a Bandit trick. You have no idea. Who knows? Biologic gets absolutely assassinated upstairs by Vertical. That's a beautiful peek by the IQ, and it's going to put us back in a 3v3. As with 45 seconds to go, Rogue will open up the Garage panel, and now they can begin their assault.
And what does Vertical do? He uses his utility on the IQ to spot that there's a pulse roaming downstairs in servers that they will have to watch out for. Later on in the round, easily will find a kill on a Thomas. All the way in the back, and the second one, Schlonging kind of out in the open. Achieved will have to move in, no Nitro Cell in hand. UMP versus the 3 of Rogue. Instead of unfortunate position that Excelerate will find themselves in. Diffuser is set in Slash. We'll take down Achieve. That's all she wrote for this match on the 10th round. Rogue with the 7-point victory here. They'll put 3 points on the board and keep in contention with the big dogs of North America. Now 10 points, surpassing Space Station, that fall to the 5th spot in North America.
This was much needed for Rogue.
Yeah.
You've now chained 2 wins back to back. You're going into Montreal. You've got a bit more confidence. You've got a clearer mind. Some of the things that you've worked on clearly have helped you. But keep in mind, not to be a downer on Rogue's success, but their victories come over 2 teams that were in 8th and 6th place, respectively.
Yeah.
This is not you being world beaters. This is not you getting a much-needed boost of confidence over a team like EG or Reciprocity or Dark Zero.
You're doing the expected.
This is what's, yeah, that's exactly it. This is everything going according to plan for a team like Rogue with Rogue's potential over these matches. Obviously, in this match in particular, it looked like Rogue was just a lot more comfortable on Consulate. That's really what it came down to. They had a bit of scariness on a couple of their attacks that really came down to the wire, and I think that that first round in particular for Excelerate, in the 1v1 with Tomas playing as the smoke, could have possibly gone either way, but that's just speculation that we should save for another day, because we have an interview with Ranger. So for the 2nd day in a row, I'll get to say hello to him. Congratulations, first and foremost.
Yeah, thank you. We are happy to get another win.
Those might be the biggest headphones I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I know, but they're really nice.
I can see
So,
you brought some you brought some hardware to the interview. I
yes,
see.
Today was a day of celebration. Our trophies from U.S. Nationals arrived, so thank you to Rob and everyone involved in that team at Ubisoft for putting on that event.
Did you get individual trophies, by the way? Are they all the same?
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
we
wow.
did. We did. We got some more.
Wow.
Trophies everywhere.
Very nice. Hopefully they're not. The other ones at the USN were like 60-something pounds, 70 pounds or something like that, I think.
These ones were like 20 each. They're still heavy.
That's something like, but yeah, very nice. And they're nice looking trophies as well. So congratulations again on your USN victory. Today against Excelerate, it's a team that has been doing better. They've been making significant improvements, and I think a lot of it does revolve around the play of Achieved. How do you approach a match trying to shut down one particular player? Or do you think there's more depth there for Excelerate that's just kind of lurking in the background that not a lot of people give them credit for?
I mean, our focus wasn't really around shutting down one player. I don't think that's something we're ever scared of. Our goal was just like, we know as a team we've had some issues this season, some struggles in finding our form early on, some issues just with communication and playing aggressive. And so our focus has just been on ourselves, getting our game back up to form. In these last 2-3 games, I think we've really kind of improved in that regard. So it was just a matter of making sure we showed up and played our match. As far as like shutting down Achieve, there wasn't really anything to it. They banned Dash. We were already going to run IQ just to hunt the pulse if needed. So no worries.
How much of a confidence boost is this for you heading into the Invitational, knowing that you've got a pretty tough group overall and you've picked up some major points here at the tail end of the first half of Pro League?
Yeah, obviously we weren't satisfied with the number of points we got in those kind of middle 4 games of the season, but I think we've been pretty confident ever since we knew ourselves that we'd refound our form, so it's just nice to see that work in matches.
Vertical's obviously looking much more comfortable, and you've put him on more traditional fragging roles. How are you seeing Eclipse fit within this team? Because I know that you'd mentioned that he had actually taken some different roles on for the team and was playing less aggressively than you used to rely on him before. Is he feeling good where he is right now, and how does the team play around that?
Yeah, I mean, Tower's a really comfortable flex player as far as I think he can just fill in anywhere. We've seen him play Mira on site, Smoke on site. We've seen him, obviously, on the deep roams, Vigil, Jaeger. So really, he's just like an all-around great utility player. So he's really easy to slot into setups and defense. He's works really well with Vert. Actually, I think you saw on this map and on a lot of our maps these last 2 weeks, he's been really involved in using the pulse to move Vert around and giving Vert information on the roam, and they've just kind of been a really good duo. So that's kind of something a dynamic that we're trying to work around.
Obviously, without asking you to give anything away over not just the invitational prep work, but then the next 7 seasons of Pro, or 7 seasons. If you, we got a long road ahead of us. 7 matches in Pro League. What is singular? Just one thing. What is your biggest focus that you're going to be looking at over the next 4 months, 3 months for the team?
I think our biggest focus is because we had like that slow start period, we kind of revamped a lot of stuff and reset. So then kind of re-expanding some niche strategies and stuff we can pull out in important situations. So kind of building that back up and having that kind of stuff prepared for the future. So we're rebuilt our solid foundation. We're a good team again. Now it's kind of doing the little things that make you the best.
Right. Rediscover that depth and then go from there. And obviously you have one of the deepest teams in NA. It's nice to see you winning again. Anything to say to the fans, sponsors, etc.? As you're our last, it's your last interview for NA until we head to a break.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we'll be at Invitational, but thanks to everyone who supported us through the slow start this season. We're sorry we let you down there, but obviously, we think we're back now, and we hope to show you that at Invite in the second half of the season. So, thanks to the fans and Rogue for all the support.
We'll see you in Montreal in just a couple weeks. Best of luck.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.